Hey, this is Steve Bloom, and you are listening to the Geekcast Radio Network.
Hey, it's Jesse Rass here, and you've made the great escape into comics by jumping inside the pull bag today.
I am smart. S-M-R-T. I mean S-M-A-R-T.
You've just jumped inside the pull bag. Join TFG1 Mike and the rest of the comic reading crew here at the GCRN as they make their great escape into comics. From DC, Marvel, IDW, Boom Studios, Zenoscope, and more, we have everything you want to read right here. Transformers comics? Yeah, we cover that. He-Man? Yeah, sure. DC superheroes like Batman, Batgirl, Nightwing, and Batman Beyond? Yep, we have those too. How about TMNT from IDW and I Hate Fairyland from Image Comics? Yeah, we have all that here. Plus, so much more. It's all inside the pull bag here on the Geekcast Radio Network. So without any further ado, it's time to talk about the comics we are reading right now here inside the pull bag.
Hello and welcome to the pull bag. This is episode 326. I'm, of course, TFG1 Mike. Joining me once again, he was on episode 324. It's Ryan, the uneven flow Merkley. Hello, sir.
You can't even keep the episode straight.
Yes, I can.
This is more nostalgia from you because most of these debuted in 2010.
Well,
as evidenced by the last page on one of them, So reviewing a bunch of number ones, will they be enough to make me want to continue reading the series? Well, let's find out.
Some are, some aren't.
So prefacing this, these are all Brian Michael Bendis written.
Yep. This is the very first ever in 5 years, the first time ever I have talked anything Brian Michael Bendis. This is the first stuff I'm reading from him, completely new to it. So while these comics may be old and whatever, they're new to me.
I find Bendis is hit and miss for me. Obviously, there's people that love everything he's written. I find his voice doesn't always suit what he's writing. I'm trying to dance around this, but some of his superhero comics, they're just characters that... I've heard this accusation of Joss Whedon before, that if you were to exchange the dialogue between characters, you wouldn't necessarily know who's saying what. Right. And I find that's a little bit more true. Bendis kind of has that Sorkin quick dialogue, quick witty dialogue going. Right. And it works sometimes, and it doesn't work for everything he does. And we're going to get into some of that.
Yes, we're going to start with Brilliant. I don't know. So the whole reason why we're even doing this episode, folks, is last year or at some point within the last year or two, Comixology every so often will have, hey, get these 5 things free, or do, like, they used to do, like, the 12 days of Christmas or the 20, like, whatever it is around Christmas time, where most of the time you can get free stuff. And they have free comics all the time anyway. It's just not often things you'd probably want to read, or probably things you've already read that you already purchased. So they're like, oh, check out these 5 Brian Michael Bendis things. And I'm like, oh, okay, sure. I'll do it at some point. Oh.
Gee, thanks for letting me know. I had to get them individually.
Well, if you would have asked me... anyway.
Some help you were. I didn't get paid for this.
I've been doing this
sponsor me on this podcast.
I've been doing this for 10 years. I've gotten donations over the years, but I don't get an actual paycheck either,
Where's my cut? Oh man. I still got to get all my fat stacks from the TF Wire payouts.
Anyway. Right. Sure.
Hey, we had 80K listeners at one point.
Sweet.
Yeah, anyway, as opposed to the 8 this one has. So
it's actually funny that you mentioned that, because we're recording this the Wednesday or Thursday after Batman Day. And I'm like, okay, so I don't know if we're actually going to record 326 this week, so I'm just going to relink and post old Batman stuff for Batman Day on 9/15/18. I scheduled, like, I don't know, 25 different episodes of old Batman coverage that we did, Steve said it boosted the Pullbag's listenership by 900 downloads. So
meaning you got 900 downloads somehow. Interesting. So what do we pick? Holy cow. So brilliant.
Brilliant.
Oof. Do we want to go do an overall synopsis?
Sure, go ahead. Take it away. Do your job.
For once.
Exactly.
Hey, there's one of these I won't be able to do. So, Brilliant
True.
is, I mean, it opens with a bank robbery, and we find out it's a number one. We don't find out an awful lot about it. We essentially get to see the characters around the initial character we're introduced to. Mm-hmm. But beyond that, the hook is clearly meant to be the fact that they've discovered this serum for
superpowers.
Yes. And one of them, at least, is clearly misusing it.
Yes.
And so the question will be going forward, will everybody how did they do it?
Right, yeah. Because what this feels like to me is the Peter Parker Club without Spider-Man, because as the issue progresses, we run into the guy that's robbing the bank, and then all of his other friends, and they're like this science consortium or something, I don't know, kind of a thing, and it's like, oh, okay, sure, cool. I should say, created and produced by, which we already mentioned, Brian Michael Bendis, but also Mark Bagley.
Mark Bagley, yep. Another very good. So two extremely talented people working on it, should be noted.
A lot of extremely talented people. Inks done by Joe Rubinstein. Colors done by Nick Filardi.
Bagley's art in this, I thought, worked really well, and it fits really well, and that's something I want to get into a little later. Mm-hmm. But Bagley, this is the only one that he does of these books we're going to review.
Right.
And unsurprisingly, the artwork is good. I find it suits it really well. I didn't have any issues telling the characters apart or anything like that, which there's a number of characters per shot, because when you say we catch up with the science consortium, it's at a party. Yeah. So there's a ton of different people there, and there's a lot of different faces, and it could be really easy to lose something in the crowd.
Yeah.
And I thought that it works pretty well. I know. So sometimes I read reviews of stuff before I go on, just to see what people are kind of saying about it, or have said about it. There's a lot of people that didn't find it easy to differentiate between the characters. I don't know. I didn't have any problems. Overall, getting past the sort of initial feelings, I liked it. This was one of the more interesting ones. There's another one, and then there's one that I actually own the entire series of that we'll get into. But I do like it, and keeping in mind that, so this is from 2010, and so I think since then the story has been done quite a few times of teens or younger people developing powers and what they do with it in a modern era. I know obviously Spider-Man and all these others are from the 60s and been around forever.
Yeah.
But I think it's been done since then, so it does feel a little cliche now, but I don't know. It works for me.
Maybe the better comparison is like Teen Titans instead of Spider-Man. Like, a team. I'm not saying these people are all going to be a team. I don't know. I'm only reading this first issue. I haven't read past this.
Yeah,
so
I was thinking more of like movies, like Chronicle and Push, and some of these others, Jumper, and all these others that have done it.
I love Jumper. I love that movie.
Some before this and some after. Yeah. So, I can understand some of the people feeling that it was cliche, but I don't know. It worked for me. And Bendis's dialogue here, I thought, was fairly solid. It didn't. I didn't read it and think this is obviously a Bendis story, which some of his stuff can fall into. And I know that sounds like a negative, but he's really good at it. So,
right. Yeah. I love the story. I love the setup. I love all the different characters. Like, you've got the main couple of characters. You've got all these other side characters. I think it is super fun and super interesting. It's probably a series I want us to keep up with at some point. I'm sure
it's only 7 issues at this point, and I mentioned this when we were talking beforehand that supposedly it'll come back in 2020. We'll see if that's true.
Maybe it'll be our next I Hate Fairyland series, considering I Hate Fairyland only comes back every so often too. Like, I Hate Fairyland from Scotty Young is not consistently been ongoing. It isn't ongoing, but anyway. So who knows? So one of the main reasons, kind of, once I read this, I'm like, oh, we got to talk about this. They're at the party, or no, they're the question will be answered, ladies and gentlemen. I ask you. Who will win in a fight between Roboformer and the Tech? Oh my God, that's a really bad Optimus cosplay.
Oh yeah, and Master Chief.
Yep.
Also, Optimus Prime would obviously destroy Master Chief. I mean, he annihilated a Gundam on the YouTube channel, battle channel, that name I can't remember. So, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, by the way, so... one thing I wanted to mention, too, about Brilliant, before I forget this as well. I mentioned that it may come back in 2020. Part of the reason for that is because it only ended in 2016. This is despite the fact this comic we're talking about debuted in 2011. So there was some time between issues. So I understand a lot of the people and fans of this that were annoyed because, well, you had years in between issues.
True.
It's not good. That rarely seems to turn out well.
Seems to be the tool of comics at this point.
It depends. I know I like that some of the comics are broken into seasons,
Right.
like Saga and some of the others. Like Brian K. Vaughan likes to take breaks, and I think it works. Unintentional multi-year breaks, though, like this, or say Ultimate Wolverine versus the Hulk, which of course is legendary for how many years it was between issues. That doesn't help as much. Anyway.
So this one pretty much ends with them basically saying, oh, we have superpowers, or we have to figure out how to make the powers kind of work, kind of a thing. Like I said, I like the main character. I like the main set of characters, how they have this whole... Like, there's one panel where the two of them are talking. Dude, you just got back. You know what you need. You need a goal, a project. A project? Something to look... something to lock on to. Like, this whole conversation, this is where I'm like, oh, it's a science club. It's a college science fair thing or something or other. That's where I kind of locked on to that. So... but no, I really dug this. I think this is a super cool... I love the art style. I love Brian's writing. Obviously, love any references to anything. Like, they even throw in a Blade Runner reference in here.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know...
Terrell Corporation.
Yep. I think it's super cool. It's super fun. I kind of like knowing that it's only 7 issues, that even though this came out 7 years ago,
yeah,
I don't have to worry about, 600 issues and 60-something, 80-something years of continuity.
The only downer is for anybody looking to kind of continue on with it, the volumes of it available are generally only 1 to 5 when purchased in trades. Now, some of them have all 1 to 7. Just make sure that's something you're getting, because some of the hardcovers are only 1 to 5. And yeah, that's what happens when you have forever in between your issues.
That's very true.
Still, yeah, this is something I would keep up with, and yeah, What are we doing next?
That would be Powers. Okay, so looking at Brilliant, you can get. Oh, well, Comixology only has 5 issues on here, not 7. Okay, I was going to say you could get all 7 issues, but they only list 5 under single issues. So, and the collected edition on here is 1 to 5. So no clue. I don't know. Alright, so Powers is up next. I was kind of iffy on the art style at first, but Eisner Award winner Brian Michael Bendis and Michael Avon Oming?
Yeah, I don't know. I was hoping you would say it, so...
Yeah.
So I could just go with that, and if it's wrong, I'll blame you.
Yeah. Color art done by Pat I can't... I'm sorry, Pat. I can't pronounce your last name either. What is it with some of these independent things that just... I don't know.
Yeah, people have different names. It's not like we don't butcher the normal artists and writers. Yeah, really. It doesn't really matter. Mm. I mean, James Roberts is probably the only one we get right.
It took me a little while to get Priscilla Tramontano done right, but I figured it out.
I never did, so...
So, Powers, Bendis, and Oming. I assume it's Oming.
I'm mostly going to let you take the lead on this, because this one wasn't fair for me. I
Why?
own the entire series, so...
Oh, well, wait, if you own the entire series, you should take the lead on this.
Not really, because it's hard to look at just the individual issue and...
Really?
Go back to that. I found it was, anyway. So the first part of the arc is Who Killed Retro Girl. Right. And Powers is set in a world where we follow 2 detectives, Dina and... God. What's wrong with my brain today?
The dude. The old guy. Yes. God, what is his name?
Now I can't remember. That's not good.
I'm looking through the panels and I don't even see them saying his name.
I'm getting old. Anyway.
I'm too old for this shit.
It's weird because I remember Dina's last name too. Anyway, whatever. So, it follows the 2 detectives in a world where superpowers are relatively commonplace, and they're detectives tasked with solving the murders related to them in one way or another, whether it's people killed by them or them being killed.
Right.
Such is the case in issue 1.
Yep. Walker is the main detective.
Oh, damn it. Why can I not remember that? I even remember who we... never mind. Whoops. Yeah, see, that's why I don't want to talk too much about it.
Okay.
But I will say this is a good series. I got into it 8, 9 years ago, and I first read it. I read the first trade. A friend of mine had it, and since then I picked it up, and then I continued on with it. I have all of the stuff that was published independently. Mm-hmm. I have read the continuation of it. Mm-hmm. The continuation of it is not great, we'll say.
It's still Bendis, though, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Christian Walker, yes. Anyway, damn it. Stupid brain. Anyway, I have all the stuff from Icon, and when I left off, I left off at the Powers Bureau stuff.
Okay.
I've read it. It's not great, we'll say. And yeah, I just much prefer the earlier stuff.
Yeah, I'm not sure we would keep up with this one. Like, this did not grab me. It grabbed me, but it didn't, like, make me want to, oh my god, I have to read the next issue kind of a thing. I don't know. And just looking back through this, I do love the art style. I think it's a different, unique style. I don't want to say it's flat, but it's more matte than glossy or flashy, because there really aren't. Like, you look at this and Brilliant the way Brilliant's style is done is more flash and more.
Well, Powers is
gloss
very
on it.
noir.
Yeah.
There's a lot of black and whites, and a lot of the background colors are muted or singular.
Yep.
And yeah, it gives it a different feel. And I've always felt it really worked well for the series.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely enjoy it as a whole. Like I said, it's hard for me to just evaluate one issue at this point. I know where all the arcs go and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting, but it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't as interesting as, like, I actually want to continue with Brilliant. Like, that was really, really good. I thought that was interesting, and this is good as well.
Can't we continue with stuff I already own? Jeez.
What?
What's wrong with you?
What?
I'm a cheap man.
Well, stop being so cheap.
I already have, 500 and... What am I at? I'm over 550 trades, so I don't need any more. Come on.
Oh. It's digital. It is... Anyway. Yeah. Next up, we have Scarlet. This is done by Brian and well as Alex Maleev.
Yep, Alex Maleev. And this is the team that worked on, probably most notably, people will remember them from Bendis' Daredevil run, which I enjoy, but oh, holy crap, is it dark. By the way, it's one of the reasons I loved Wade's Daredevil so much is after Bendis, well, first Smith, which, anyway, after Smith, Bendis, and then Brubaker's run and Shadowland, man, did they need to lighten it up at some point, and it sort of worked in terms of lightening it up. It's still a real dark series, but anyway, on to this one. So Scarlet is told, by the titular character to the audience, so she's talking directly to the people reading, and then B, through flashbacks, where she tells her story of how she got to where she is.
Right. I love this.
Yeah, I liked it a lot, too. This is a series that... So, it's just picked up again as of, I believe it was the end of August, was issue 1. This is under DC Comics now. And, yeah, I'm really interested in continuing, this original series from... I think this is another 2010 one.
Yeah.
It was 2011 for Brilliant. I think this is one of the 2010s. Anyway, yeah, I liked it a lot, and it's difficult, or it's surprising to me, because the story is told through one person's viewpoint completely. It's just Scarlet talking to us and telling us everything, but it works really well. And Maleev's art, by the way, is fantastic. Anyone who's read Daredevil or really anything else he's worked on, he's really good. One of the best going. And yeah, I really liked this. Her story is tragic and strangely and depressingly still pretty topical today.
Yeah.
I mean, screw it, just to be blunt, if you had made the character killed by the police black, it would be every single headline we read pretty much on a weekly basis out of the U.S.
Yeah.
So it still works. The time hasn't really dulled the story.
Yeah. And I love how her narration, her monologue to us is... You see that, like, Maleev's art is amazing, and it's colorful in parts, but it's also dark in others. But her narration is basically a one-woman comedy show, the way she's telling the story.
Minus the comedy.
Well, there's a little bit. There's a few times that I did chuckle of stuff that she said. Like, basically when she Ferris Bueller's and, you know, talks to us directly kind of a thing.
Yeah, there's some.
The one where she's like, they really should have let me know, just a heads up, a hint of what was to come. So when I experienced this broken world for the first time, it wouldn't have been such a shock to my... Hold on. Like, and then she goes and kicks the guy trying to steal the bike, kicks his ass. So, you know, it's that kind of stuff. But no, I love this. I think this is super cool.
Yeah, I'd say this is the most... So if I weren't likely to just read stuff anyway, because I'm nuts and have a bajillion comics and everything else, I would... This is the one, I would pick up if I were just going to pick up one of them.
Yeah. I love especially with Comixology guided view, I love the way that her life basically tracks birth, first shit, first fight, first kiss, first disappointment, first best friend, first job, first boyfriend, second boyfriend, third boyfriend, first infidelity, first fight over me, only one, first sexual experience, first experiment, first rejection. Like,
first
I love the way...
podcast, last Pullbag podcast.
No.
It's the same one. No, anyway.
Funny. I love the way that they do this, because again, this is a story point thing here. How they basically just, like, all of this stuff, it's one panel with, like I said, first experiment in it.
A lot of it's an info dump, and one of Bendis's dialogue and his ability to kind of move things along really help in respects like that. He's able to do the exposition and generally get it out of the way pretty quickly. Yeah. The talking head syndrome is something that it happens with him sometimes, where there's too much exposition or too much of two characters speaking. But I feel like he generally, when he's on, he avoids it well. And in this series, he's only got one. So it's pretty easy to avoid when that happens. But, you really get a sense of his strength, which is his dialogue overall in this.
The dialogue, the art, the colors, everything about this is really, really cool. I love the art change. Like, there's a big panel, I forget what page it's on, but it's another one of those things where she's running with her boyfriend or whatever, and at the bottom it says, most romantic moment of my life. And then it switches to her saying, what the hell was that I said? Giggling like an idiot. The art style, not style, but the art colors and the mood of it changes, because we go back to her, and it's basically like this blue and white background with her and her red hair, and kind of it's real. I really dig how Maleev is and the colorists are doing this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any complaints about this, so I feel like this was the best of the bunch overall.
Yeah. Yeah, I absolutely love this. This is probably one we will continue on in the future, most likely. And that final shot is just so cool. I love that. There's out of the 5, there's 3 that I would continue with. There's only 2 that I probably wouldn't. So
next,
that. Next, the United States of Murder, Inc.
Uh-oh.
What's the matter?
I don't like this. And
you didn't like it, really?
Nope. And I'll tell you why. Handful of reasons why. First of all, I said before I liked Michael Oeming's stuff with regards to powers, and his art, I thought, fits it really well. Mm-hmm. I don't feel it fit this series well. It never felt like a noir. It's a large sort of scale conspiracy. I know part of it is probably unfair, because I've read stuff from Rucka and others since then who, quite frankly, have done conspiracy stuff that's done a lot better. Mm-hmm. What happened to me? I used to be so good at being negative on these shows, and now, like, I really don't like it anymore. It's just whatever. So, yeah,
I don't know. What I liked about it was it reminded me of something like Goodfellas, without the Joe Pesci kind of character thing. I don't know. kind of liked it. I mean, the art style is something to get used to, absolutely, but the writing from Bendis is really cool. Like, I do love the story.
I don't know. I wasn't a fan.
It's a strange tale, so...
I don't know
alrighty
what
then.
to tell you. So, sum it up quickly. We meet our lead pretty quickly with he and his mom before he's brought into, quote, the family, unquote. The family being basically the mob.
Basically, yeah.
And he has to deliver something, essentially no questions asked. It's a briefcase to Washington, D.C., and he delivers it. I should mention, on the way, he meets a mysterious red-haired woman who he should have remembered from his childhood, apparently. She gets really mad at him for it. But he delivers the briefcase, then suddenly the place blows up. They being the family, insist that they didn't do it. They didn't make him deliver a bomb. And then he finds out that his mom's working for the FBI, and they want to investigate the family.
Yeah. I do love his relationship with the redhead chick. I think that's cool. I think that whole part of this was really cool, and that was interesting. Because, again, Bendis' dialogue between the two of them, and her to the cops and whatever, super cool. I thought that was great. Yeah, the whole bomb thing, that was shocking. And then the FBI reveal, it kind of had me not necessarily on the edge of my seat, but like I actually want to read more of this to figure out what the hell's going on. But you're right, the art style is something not necessarily left to be desired, but it's different than most every other comic that I've ever read.
I just didn't think it necessarily fit, and I'm not trying to knock, and obviously this is me. I mean, somebody else can read this, and art's very subjective, so if somebody else read it and thought, okay, well, I thought it fit perfectly, this guy's nuts, that's fine.
Right, yeah. I like the colors in it, I like how the colors change consistently. And like I said, I do enjoy the story here. Alright, so last up we have something that I don't know why Brian did this. I have no clue. And this is again a Bendis and Oeming. It's Michael Avon Oeming as well.
Full disclosure, I didn't get a copy of it.
Yeah. It's basically two sisters who have superpowers who have to hide the fact that they are superheroes. I mean, it's your basic superhero story. Like, you have to keep up the secret identity thing, and it's got kooky villains and masks, and it's interesting. It's weird. It's so if somebody that wants a non-DC and Marvel like superhero comic, I would give them this. I think it's on just the way that the two sisters interact with each other. I think it's on the level of like something like Gotham Academy, sadly, because I was not a fan of that series. So, and the art style is out of all the stuff from Michael that I've seen in this episode that we're doing, out of all these issues, the man has very differing art styles for all of the comics that he works on. So that's cool. Like if I see a certain art style from a certain artist on various books, I'm like, okay, I know exactly who that artist is. Like without oh, well, they did that here too, so they're gonna do it over here, kind of a thing. So I don't know.
That was a stunning.
I guess I'm not very stunning, so you know.
No, you just weren't a fan.
No. Like it felt like this was something for kids. Is what this it feels like. This is superhero theory, for kids.
It's probably not aimed at our age. So
no. And like I said, I don't know. I give it a try, but it's not something that It's basically superheroes for kids, which is cool. I mean, it shows that Brian and Michael, not Brian Michael Bendis, but Brian and Michael Oeming, can do stuff very different. Like, I mean, just out of these 5 issues, however many that Michael is on, it's like, wow, that's completely different from what you did over here. So it's a nice variety platter, I guess. And like I said at the beginning of this, there's going to be something like at the point of where TAKIO kind of ends. They get to the point of trying to figure out where the 2 sisters and their former best friend got these superpowers, and then we find out that their former friend's father kind of helped create them, kind of a thing, and it leaves it off on a nice little mystery point, but it's not something I want to pick up. And as I said before, there are 3 out of the 5 that I would keep up with. That would be Brilliant, Scarlet, and United States of Murder.
Boo. I mean, one of them I already read, so...
Uh-huh.
No, I liked Brilliant and Scarlet. Those are the 2.
Yeah.
Scarlet I definitely want to pick up, so...
Yep. Yeah, we'll do that one eventually at some point as well. There's just so many comics, so little time.
Yeah, the people that postulate that somehow comics are inferior now are flat out wrong. There's way too much good stuff being consistently written and sent out, and even the superhero stuff, there's still solid, the guys like, oh god, I almost said Zack Snyder. No, definitely not.
Scott Snyder.
Oof.
Yeah, that was close.
Love, yeah. Scott Snyder is consistently quite good. You look at this week, even with the debut of DC's new imprint, the new series from
Black Label, Batman Damned.
Yeah, from Lee Amardaggio and Brian Azzarello. There we go. Bermendaggio. Damn it. Damn these artists with the tough last names for me. So anyway, no, there's consistently good stuff. Jason Aaron, etc., etc. So, whatever. I definitely don't think... Like, my comic buying has gotten worse over the years rather than less. Now, part of that's because I latch on to creators who I really like, and I tend to follow them from book to book, even if it's a character I'm not necessarily interested in.
Right.
But I tend to follow them because I enjoy their writing, and in the majority of cases, they've taken a character I'm not a big fan of and made it interesting enough for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, there's way too many great comics right now to list, and I think I did a list on Twitter off the top of my head, and as soon as I finished, I still remember thinking, like, okay, I listed 10 or 11 people here. I forgot, and I had already come up with a pair that I forgot that I wanted to list. So,
yeah.
No, there's a lot of good stuff. And, yeah, some of it's independent, so don't be afraid to check out some of that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like, when I first started doing quote-unquote creator-owned stuff, like, I started with some of the Tom Zoller stuff, reading that, because he did Love and Capes, Long Distance, Warning Label, all that stuff. He's done other, like, big publishing stuff, because he's been on several issues of My Little Pony over the years at IDW and things like that. But, like, Cowl from Image and pretty much anything from Image. Cowl, I Hate Fairyland, whatever, Hadrian's Wall, all that stuff is really cool, and it's really different. Yes, you're right, the superhero stuff is good as well. It very much is, but sometimes superheroes burn you out, and you need something different. And there is plenty of other different comics out there. So as I said, Brilliant, Scarlet, and the U.S. of Murder for me is ones that I'll be... Brilliant and Scarlet, Ryan and I can do, and U.S. of Murder, somebody else and I can do. Powers and TAKIO, I don't have that much of an interest to pick them up.
You suck. I'll do Powers alone. That'll show you. So, Ryan, what did you think of this issue? Well, I thought that it was very
good. All right, so coming up, the end of this month, the end of September, we've got episode 327, which will be Batwoman Volume 1 Hydrology. This is the 2011 New 52 Batwoman series. Nicole Beatles Diva Hailstorm will be joining me for that, because we've got Batwoman coming into the CW universe later on in December.
I've already read it. Do you want me to ruin it for you?
No, stop. In October, there are some episodes coming. Stuff like Xenoscope's Entertainment's Code Red and Red Agent, which is more Red Riding Hood stuff from Xenoscope Entertainment. I'm trying, and hopefully you can help me with this. Episode 329 is going to be something DC Comics did a couple of years ago. The KFC Comics. I need to get Spada on this.
Okay.
I don't know if you know this, but DC Comics put out 3 issues of Kentucky Fried Chicken, basically the Colonel mashing up with the DC superheroes. I'll show it to you off air, but
dear.
Yeah, I really want to get Spade of the Vault Matrix on this because of that old KFC video he did when they came out with their chicken sandwich that is basically just 2 pieces of chicken for the bread or whatever it was. Anyway, Nicole and I will be back with Davocracy.
Then we can talk about the Rosenberg relaunch of The Punisher, where in issue 1 he killed the Mandarin. And
okay, that'll be sooner at some point. I don't know exactly when.
What else? Then we can review Donny Cates's Cosmic Ghost Rider, which is the Punisher as the future Cosmic Ghost Rider trying to kill his way to Thanos. What else can we review? Sorry.
Back in the real world, episode 331 and 332 will be a 2-parter for Batman White Knight.
I knew, see, as soon as Batman took off, now that's all you want to review.
No.
Did we ever do Gotham Central?
No, we have not yet. We will.
Oh, man,
soon.
Totally got to do that. That was a great series.
We will soon, yes. Episode 333 will be WWE Volume 3, The Roman Empire.
Boo! Oh, sorry. It's the audience reaction.
So that's what's coming up here inside the pull bag. Lots of good comics out there, folks. Just give everything at least a once-over, I guess. You never know. And like I said, we'll be getting back to more of the Brian Michael Bendis stuff at some point or another. Where can the people find you online, sir?
At Nightbeat on Twitter.
I am at TFG and Mike on Twitter. You can follow at the Pullbag, at Geekcast Radio. Of course, go to geekcastradio.com, where we've got all kinds of cool podcasts. I believe
all we're about Batman.
No, not. In 10 years, we've done 52 episodes about Batman.
Oh, good lord!
Yeah, that's
need to catch up
years.
on that. We'll get the Punisher caught up.
Mm-hmm.
He's like Batman, but he's more effective because his villains don't go to jail for a week.
No, they end up dead.
Exactly.
I am toying, and this is all Ryan's fault.
Uh-oh.
I am toying with potentially taking the show daily at one point or another.
Oh, God.
Where we review 1 issue per episode. So it would be like The Punisher #1 on Monday. The Punisher #2 on Tuesday. Whatever it is. But
you do an arc a week or something like that.
Yeah, basically. I'm toying with the idea. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm toying with it. I don't know.
You're going to have to get a lot more popular, and you're going to have to pay me, so...
Right. I haven't had to pay you yet, so... You just show up. You're like, oh,
yeah,
I want to
look
record.
at the quality of output you get from me. I mean, clearly,
yeah.
Get what you pay for. Anyway,
or get what you don't pay for. Make your great escape into comics, and we will catch you next time here inside the Pull Bag.
The A-Team.
I love it when a plan comes together.
I love when a plan comes together.
You've just heard the latest episode of The Pullbag, the GCRN's first comic review and discussion podcast. There are several ways to get in touch with us and leave feedback for the show. You can visit the website, geekcastradio.com, where you can comment on the episode and all of our different podcasts. You can rate and leave a review for the show on iTunes. Be sure to leave us feedback. Become a fan of us on Facebook, facebook.com/thepullbag. Send us an email, feedback at geekcastradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at thepullbag and at geekcastradio. So until next time, make your great escape into comics and unleash the geek in you.